Today on Sledhead 24/7, ride along with Arctic Cat's demo tour as average riders tell us what they like about the 2014 lineup. We'll head to MTNTK Performance and install a Bully Dog Power Sports gauge tuner on our Polaris 800 Pro RMK, an incredible tool for the aftermarket enthusiast. Get the most out of your snowmobile with Straightline Performance as we do some high-altitude product testing. And Jeff and David get back to the basics with Amber Holt's Mountain Riding Clinic. Sledhead 24/7 starts now.
We've got the biggest, baddest snowmobiles money can buy from the OEMs, and we have talent fish.
Hey, this is Tucker Hibbert. You're watching Sledhead 24/7.
Welcome to another episode of Sledhead 24/7. I'm your host, Carly Applin, coming to you from the beautiful trails of Minnesota. We're going to kick off the show today with a demo ride from Arctic Cat. And with different chassis and all new engine packages, Cat has the gamut covered for you and your riding style. Take a look.
Today was a 2014 Arctic Cat dealer demo ride sponsored here by Thomas Snow Sports in Oglivie.
We do this particular demo ride event a little bit differently than some demo ride events in the fact that we take about a 100-mile trail ride and we switch sleds every 10 miles or so. By the end of the day, everyone's had a chance to try the different models in our fleet.
Today is a good chance for Thomas Snow Sports to take care of some of the customers that they've had in the past, as well as get some new people out to throw a leg over a machine.
For this year's demo ride event, we had a lot to talk about. A lot of people had not yet had a chance to ride our machines with our new 6,000 two-cycle engine or our new 7,000 four-cycle engine. We had some of those in most of our riding groups today.
And just try out different machines, see how they actually work in the real conditions that you're going to operate them in. So, time we get done, we're going to have about 105 miles on.
If you're looking at choosing a sled today, I think a person should take a hard look at an Arctic Cat.
People that maybe have only been riding an Arctic Cat from 2005 or 6 or 7 when we are selling so many snowmobiles, they're pretty surprised at how the snowmobiles have changed since then.
The rider forward position has changed the ride dramatically, as well as the suspension. A lot plusher ride, accessories, heated seats, better handlebar warmers, gauges, a lot of luxuries we didn't have 10 years ago.
We've made great strides in recent years. I think we've always been a leader in the suspension changes. They ride and handle very differently, and the people that hadn't been on this new Pro Cross chassis, they were pleasantly surprised with how these rode and handled.
And things keep evolving. The motors are in a different position. We sit a little higher, better suspension, handling characteristics are changed. They just keep getting better and better every year.
And we're also one of the few companies that manufactures our own two-stroke engine right here in Minnesota.
They're really improved the handling, and then they stay flat on the trail. There's no inside ski lift, which I get with my 2008 quite a bit. And like I say, I just like the more sit-up, higher style.
Reliability. Now, with any one of these machines, nobody would have even a question of just hopping on and running to the Canadian border and back.
They make a phenomenal machine. They're very dependable. Their performance, in my opinion, is second to none. Cat sums it up real well in their machines for performance and handling and the technology that they lead the way with.
The changes are significant, and if ever there was a good time to look at a newer snowmobile, if you're going to stay into the sport of snowmobiling, I think this is the year to do it.
If you haven't been out on a new Cat, then I suggest you get out and ride one because technology has really changed in the past 10 years. Still more to come on Sledhead 24/7. Don't go anywhere.
Still ahead on Sledhead 24/7. break bad habits and get educated with Amber Holt's Backcountry Basics Mountain Riding Clinic. We'll bring you on a high-altitude SPI test session. And the crew over at MTNTK Performance installs a Bully Dog Power Sports Gauge Tuner. Find out why it's a must-have gadget for you, the snowmobile enthusiast. Sledhead 24/7 is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Polaris, terrain domination. Ram, guts, glory, Ram. Fox, redefining ride dynamics. And by Stud Boy, traction with an attitude.
Welcome back to Sledhead 24/7. I'm your host, Carly Applin, and now let's head over to MTNTK Performance and install a Bully Dog Power Sports Gauge Tuner and our Polaris Pro RMK 800. I suggest before you do any performance mods, you take a look at this.
And I'm here at MTNTK Performance in beautiful Ashton, Idaho. And joining me here is Sean Davenport. Sean, you got a lot of cool stuff sitting around here. Tell me a little bit what you do.
Well, we like to push the envelope. We like to build things that go fast from mild to wild. We build everything from naturally aspirated engines to venting to turbocharged engines. We build a lot of different products, but every one of our products is something that we spend a lot of time on making it so it's perfected, it works well, and you're going to be happy when you get it.
Okay, we got the new Bully Dog GT tuner here, Sean. What's it going to do for my new Pro R?
First off, it's going to act as a watchdog. It's going to actually display parameters that's going on with this snowmobile with sensors and different things are going on with the engine, and we can actually look and see what's happening. The second thing it can do is it can actually read and erase engine trouble codes. So if you have a check engine light, we can actually figure out what it's wrong. You can spend less time in the shop. You can actually know what's going on with this. 3, we can use this as a data logger, and we can record this information, we can do some baseline testing, and we can actually prove that when we put something on this thing, we can prove that the clutch kit or an air intake is actually doing what it's supposed to do.
Sounds cool. You know what? Let's put it on.
First thing you need to do when we're installing this is we need to figure out a mounting option and how it's going to go on. Okay, and here's the diagnostic adapter cable that plugs into the factory diagnostic port, and we're just going to mount this up and plug it in. You just have to take off this nylon sleeve that covers the electrical, and this just plugs into the factory connector. There are no other connectors that look like that one, so it's easy to put on. It's got a kind of a purple color on the back side of it, and it can't mix it up.
Okay, Sean, I see this the adapter box here. Are you going to mount it somewhere?
So we're going to affix it right here to the front of the oil bottle.
You got the gauge mounted on the hood. You got the wiring plugged in. What's left?
We just need to bring the hood back on, and then we can finish it up. We're just going to use a little bit of dielectric grease on the 2 ends of the HDMI cable just to make sure that no moisture can affect its signal.
Everything's hooked up. What's our next step?
We're going to actually hook this to auxiliary power, and we're going to power up the unit without the snowmobile running.
So we can power this thing whole up, get into the ECU, and not have the sled running?
Exactly.
I just can't believe how quick and easy this install was and how much information's in that one little box. I think there's only one last thing to do.
Well, let's take it out and do some field testing, and we can collect some data with the data logger. Okay, what we have is the Bully Dog data logger screen pulled up. We can actually pick the things that we want to display. We're going to do RPM, speed, and throttle. We can play this stuff in real time, or we can stop it and we can advance it frame by frame, and we can actually see each one of these values change.
The way I can see it, this would be the first thing I buy before doing any of my performance work.
It's the only thing that can give you the tools that you need to do the job properly.
So to see any more of the Bully Dog product, check out bullydog.com. And all your Polaris performance needs, check out MTNTK Performance.
Such a simple install that will save you time and money down the road. Now it's time for a tech tip brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter.
Next time you have to bring your snowmobile to the service center, firstly, when you walk in the door, have a good attitude. Being mad or angry, it isn't always going to help. Another thing is, be able to explain the problems, what happened, how it happened. The more information you give to your technician, the easier it's going to be for them to figure it out, and that hopefully can even keep the costs down. And speaking of cost, agree on a price, agree on a max that you want to go before they have to call you. That'll make it easier for them to get the job done in an efficient manner. And fourthly, if it's the middle of the season, don't expect to get it right away. Be realistic on a time frame. It'll just make it that much easier on the long run. And that's my K&N Tech Tip.
Still ahead on Sledhead 24/7. We high altitude test with Straightline Performance products to ensure you're getting the most power out of your sled. And learn the fundamentals of mountain riding with Amber Holt and her Backcountry Basics riding clinic. Stay tuned. Sledhead 24/7 is brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter. FXR, world-class outerwear. Arctic FX Graphics, make it yours. GoPro, be a hero. Michelob Golden Light, you're golden. And by Skidoo Snowmobiles.
Welcome back to Sledhead 24/7. I'm your host, Carly Applin, and now it's time we head to the mountains to check in with Straightline Performance, where they're doing some high altitude testing to ensure that you have the best tested aftermarket products they have on the shelf.
Jeff Fisher here, and we're out in the mountains. We're out testing. Along with me is Jason Hool from Straightline Performance. Now, Jason brought along some parts, some test components. I saw some fancy equipment like radar guns and computers help us do some testing, tuning along with his athletes. We're out here to do some riding, huh, Jason?
I am excited. I mean, we have got the best equipment, some of the best machines to test. We've got the product to put on there, perform, show what it can do in the field. Out here in elevation, where it is the hardest to get product to perform.
Jason brings us the product. He comes along. He's going to help us set it up to make it work the absolute best. Let's get out there and start doing some testing.
Let's do it. Straightline Performance and Sledhead 24/7 are out in West Yellowstone doing some backcountry testing on Straightline Performance products today.
They're pulling up the hill. They're pulling the right RPM, up, down the hill, side hilling. They're running flawless.
We're out here today to test a lot of different products, mountain climbing, hill climbing, backcountry riding, making sure these products perform. In my hands here, this is kind of what we consider one of the lie detectors. I know back at the shop we have the heartbreaker, we call it. Here's the in-field heartbreaker. This will actually show us acceleration rates, mile an hour, the distance we went. It compares all the stock machines to all our setup machines and what the real big difference is. After making a couple test passes here, we're looking to get a little more RPM out of this steep hill that we're testing on. So we're making a clicker adjustment, raising the clickers up one position. Should give us an extra 100 RPM and get peak performance out of it. We're going to do one more pull, just tell them to make another quick pass to get a little consistency out of it. Sometimes, 2 or 3 pulls is not enough to be very consistent, so we want to get one more to confirm. I want to do one more with a little more pipe beat to see how it runs. The average rider needs to know, is this product working? Is it climbing? Is it got the track speed that we compare to the mile an hour?
We're making clutch changes. We're making fuel mapping changes on some of the machines.
Straightline Performance, we test at many elevations. In high elevation, our 6,000 to 12,000 feet is real important. We need to be out in the field. Everyone can test the products on a dyno, but actually being out in the field where the consumer uses it is one of the most important things that need to be done.
We're out testing the Straightline Performance products, and I tell you what, I'm a believer. We made some changes, even out in the field, the little changes, we got them things dialed in. With the radar gun, we were able to see the acceleration, the speed gains, worked really well. Things were flawless, didn't miss a beat.
Did some great testing today. We also did some new products that we're looking for 2015 on. We always look a year in advance, so we did some products that you'll see out in the market today and some out next year.
We had a great time out in the mountains today, riding and testing with Straightline Performance. Can't thank Jason Hool enough for fixing us up with this great product and getting our buggies tuned in. Also, can't thank FXR enough for fixing up with this great gear the whole crew's running around wearing. This stuff keeps you warm and dry and looking good. Jason, what do you got going on?
Hey, Jeff. This is 2015 stuff we're looking at. I know we had some great products we worked today, but to see what's happening here, go to straightlineperformance.com for next year.
It's always good to know that Straightline Performance is giving you the most performance out of their products for you, the consumer. Lots more to come on Sledhead 24/7. Stay tuned.
Up next, get back to the basics and break bad habits with Amber Holt's Mountain Riding Clinic. Sledhead 24/7 is brought to you by Amsoil, the first in synthetics. Arctic Cat, share our passion. C&A Pro Skis, ride like a pro. Bully Dog, more power, more pull, more bully. Spy, see better, feel better. And by Speedworks, straight up USA horsepower.
Welcome back, Sledders. I'm your host, Carly Applin. Mountain and backcountry riding can be technical and require some skill. So let's head back to the basics with Amber Holt's Mountain Riding Clinic.
Hi, Jeff Fisher here. I'm in Island Park, Idaho, in the beautiful mountains. Joining me is my son David and Amber Holt with Backcountry Basics. Amber, where are we staying here?
You're staying at the Sawtell Mountain Resort, and this is my main base. My clients can actually stay here and ride right from where we're sitting.
Backcountry Basics, what's it all about?
Backcountry Basics teaches the fundamentals of backcountry riding. We focus on throttle control, rider input, rider positioning, and countersteering, which is basically how to ride your sled on one ski.
So in other words, you're going to try to teach me and break me of some bad habits?
I sure am.
Well, you know what? Let's go ride.
Okay, sounds good. Backcountry Basics was developed to get the fundamentals for new riders and experienced riders to ride more efficiently and easier and focus on the basics of backcountry riding.
As an instructor, she's very patient and she's very thorough, and to get student, as I was, to properly execute the moves and to do it the right way.
What I teach in class in 2 days took me 2.5 years to learn. I had a very patient husband who wanted to see me succeed and become his riding partner, and that's what made me the rider I am today.
Okay, Amber, we're out here in the field. You know, where do we begin?
Well, the first thing, Jeff, we're going to work on is finding your clutch engagement point. And that's where the energy from the motor is delivered to the driveline to the track. Try to listen and feel your sled. There you go. Yeah. So you're slightly low on your RPM. See if you can build them a little higher before you pop it. The roll on, roll off exercise, which I call the magic carpet exercise, we're finessing using throttle and brake together. We're learning how to accelerate and decelerate without just using the throttle or just using the brake, but using them in unison as one. So when I am ready to slow down, I actually begin to slowly squeeze my brake and then release my throttle. That second round, you had the handle on it.
You don't realize when you do hit it like that, you just dig right down. As soon as I felt and I could figure out where to hold the brake and to be a little smoother with the throttle, the sled laid a lot flatter.
And this is a really good technique too on those deep powder days. So you can keep it right at clutch engagement point, believe it or not, with the brake, and you can actually pretty much be at a stop and then get going again and never sink your track, especially in that soft, dry powder. Arctic Cat is the backbone behind my company as far as having the correct chassis to teach students on. I couldn't ask for a better chassis. The new 6000, when they came out with it this year, that sled is like the most ideal entry-level training sled there is. But it's not a sled that somebody's going to outgrow either. An advanced rider can get on that and have a lot of fun with it.
It's really nice to learn on that 6000 Arctic Cat because the motor's so smooth, so controllable that it's a real easy sled to maneuver and control and help better your riding.
I'm a stickler about feet work, especially with a new rider and especially if the ladies were here with us today too. Now the key to this is we want to take the arch of our foot and we want to put it on the running rail, and we want 90% of our rider weight or our balance on our front foot. And our back foot is just basically back there to stabilize us and help balance. If you put your weight forward on that forward foot and your other foot back, remember how you were asking me a pointing direction of your hip?
Yep.
Now I'm actually kind of 45 off the nose, putting all my mass and weight onto that uphill ski and spindle. To balance and practice riding it, go ahead and just relax your knee into the cowling or into the side panel here and head up. And you can actually kind of lock your back leg and arch your back a little bit, and that will help you balance for this maneuver on the flats.
Okay, we've just finished up with Amber's course, and I tell you what, it made a believer out of me. It's very important to get back to the basics. I don't care if you're male, female, or what age you are. You come out here once, twice, 3 times a year. It's very important to learn to get back to the basics, where to position your body, burn less energy. Amber, it was just great. How can people get a hold of you?
Well, they can visit me on my website, backcountrybasics.com, or they can go to their local Arctic Cat dealership and get in touch with me.
Can't thank you enough for having the Sledhead 24 crew out here and teaching us how to get back to the basics.
You're welcome. Keep your head up.
I'll remember to keep my head up.
From larger groups to couples and even the advanced class, Amber Holt will truly make you a better rider in just a few hours. So we're almost out of time for this episode of Sledhead 24/7. I'm your host, Carly Applin, and we want to say a big thank you to our sponsors. Make sure to check us out online at sledhead24-7.com for the latest episodes, and of course, like us on Facebook. Who knows, you might just catch us in action this winter. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Next week on Sledhead 24/7, catch up with the home of horsepower as Speedworks does some high-altitude testing in the mountains with backcountry athletes Rob Kincaid and David McClure. And we evaluate some sleds from the OEMs. All that and more next week on Sledhead 24/7.
Hey Sledhead 24/7 fans, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube for the latest episodes, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter for the most up-to-date info. And who knows, you might just ride with us this season.